Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, after issuing unconstitutional executive orders seeking revenge, seeking to punish law firms that, somehow displeased dear leader, judges, one after another, ruled that such executive orders are unconstitutional and void. And here's the most interesting thing. The Trump administration and his third-rate DOJ lawyers didn't appeal a single one. Now, we'll turn to that curiosity in a minute, but first, let's take on the new lawsuit that was just filed by the American Bar Association. This from Politico. Headline, ABA sues Trump administration over executive orders targeting law firms. The American Bar Association is suing the White House to stop President Donald Trump's use of executive orders to punish and pressure law firms. The ABA, a voluntary professional organization for lawyers, alleged in its complaint filed in federal court in Washington Monday that the executive orders pursued by the Trump administration, as well as the deals it had reached with some of America's top law firms seeking a reprieve from federal sanctions, have cast a blizzard-like chill across the legal industry. Quote, since taking office earlier this year, President Trump has used the vast powers of the executive branch to coerce lawyers and law firms to abandon clients, causes, and policy positions the president does not like, the ABA wrote in its Monday lawsuit. Throughout his first several months in office, Trump has hammered major law firms, including Paul, Weiss, Rifkind, Wharton, and Garrison, with executive orders and memos seeking to freeze their federal caseload and restricting lawyers from entering government buildings. Some of the country's leading law firms have made deals with the White House, pledging to provide millions in pro bono legal work towards causes favored by the president and eliminate in-house diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. Meanwhile, two federal judges in May struck down orders targeting law firms Perkins Coie and Jenner & Block, ruling that they ran afoul of the Constitution. Still, the ABA contended in its suit, law firms that once proudly contributed thousands of hours of pro bono work to a host of causes, including causes championed by the ABA, have withdrawn from such work because it is disfavored by the administration. In its suit, the ABA wrote that Trump's law firm intimidation policy was in violation of the First Amendment, in part because it threatened retaliation for engaging in speech the government disfavors. The organization also alleged the White House had violated the Constitution's separation of powers. The ABA also claimed that it and other organizations reliant on the pro bono work of D.C. law firms faced specific, serious, and sometimes existential crises as a result of law firms' reaction to the president's policy. Now, friends, before we talk more about this new ABA lawsuit and its prospects for success, let's turn to that curiosity. Trump lost a bunch of court cases involving his executive orders punishing law firms, but he didn't appeal a single one. So, what's up with that? Well, this take from the New York Times. The Trump administration is ordinarily quick to appeal its losses. When courts in recent weeks blocked President Trump's tariff plans and his takeover of the National Guard troops in California, government lawyers, the Department of Justice, filed appeals within hours. The administration has also filed 19 emergency applications with the Supreme Court since Trump took office. But administration lawyers have done nothing to challenge a series of stinging rulings rejecting Trump's efforts to punish prominent law firms for what he called conduct detrimental to critical American interests by representing clients and causes not to his liking. The administration's unconventional litigation strategy is telling, said W. Bradley Wendell, a law professor at Cornell who is an authority on legal ethics. Quote, they knew that these were losing positions from the beginning, and were not actually hoping to win in court, but rather to intimidate firms into settling, as many firms did, he said. Now that they have racked up 4 losses in district courts, it's not surprising that they're not appealing, because I don't think they ever thought these were serious positions. 3 rulings permanently blocked Mr. Trump's executive orders in cases brought by law firms that chose to fight: Perkins Coie, Jenner and Block, and Wilmer Hale. A judge has temporarily blocked a 4th executive order against Sussman Godfrey and will almost certainly strike it down. And friends, I tend to agree with that analysis. I don't think the Trump administration ever believed these executive orders were lawful. So the last thing they were going to do was appeal their court losses. But what about the American Bar Association, the ABA suit? Given that the federal courts have already ruled that these executive orders punishing law firms are unconstitutional and void, isn't the ABA suit a laydown winner on the merits? I think the answer to that question is yes, if the case gets to the merits. So let's talk for just a minute about standing. A party that wants to file a lawsuit has to have standing, right? They have to have a dog in the fight. They have to have been harmed or injured as a result of, in this case, the executive orders punishing law firms. But the executive orders don't punish the ABA, certainly not directly. And I think it's because the ABA probably recognized that they're going to have a standing challenge, maybe even a standing problem on their hands. And that's what led them to include things in their lawsuit like: the executive orders have cast a blizzard-like chill across the legal industry, and law firms that once proudly contributed thousands of hours of pro bono free work to a host of causes, including causes championed by the ABA, have withdrawn from such work because it's disfavored by the Trump administration. So that kind of feels like the ABA trying to deal with the standing issue, what may be a standing problem. You know, they have to concede that, well, the ABA wasn't the named subject of the executive order. The ABA wasn't directly targeted or punished under the executive order, but the ABA is asserting that, look, we are suffering the collateral consequences because some of the law firms, some of the lawyers that were targeted are now unwilling to work on cases that are important to the ABA. So we are like collateral damage here. Now, is that enough to prove standing? Well, a federal court will sort that out soon enough. I, for one, hope the ABA suit is successful, because attacking unconstitutional executive orders and presidential abuse of power on all fronts, like justice, matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.